Um, Hello. I titled my talk "State of Online Video." Basically, after my short talk, I would love to leave you with a couple of things. Whoop. Leave you with just three things, right? The first being what is an important trend when it comes to online video. The second is the scale of online video, and finally, I think a really big opportunity that is still there for online video. Let me just put this disclaimer as a start. I know I titled it in general on video, but of course, due to my work and the examples I'm familiar with, it would be heavily biased towards YouTube. So yeah, just as a start, let's go back in time and look at videos in general, right? So any thoughts on those two numbers? Like that's the year 1988. Any thoughts on what those numbers are? No, none at all. Sorry? No. So basically, I found this interesting research that said like what was the number of channels, what was the number one show at the time, which was the Cosby Show, and then what were the average number of channels, this is US specific, available at the time, and what was the share of that number one show. So you can see here, like folks had a choice between 26 channels and the number one show had almost 50%, right? But if you zoom in 10 years into the future, the numbers start to change a little bit. So channels doubled, the share dropped like a third. Fast forward another 10 years, and the interesting thing here is this is again the number one show, right? At least in 2008, and it's only having a 25% share. So kind of this trend, which is the first point I talked about of fragmentation, right? So as time goes by, there is much more options out there, and basically when you look at what is the number one option, it becomes, in terms of share, a very shrinking kind of share. But still, it's interesting to consider that, and I picked here the Super Bowl as an example. There is still events that happen on TV that capture a ton of audience. The Super Bowl, which happens once a year, captures like 100 million viewers. That is still much smaller than what the Olympics would get, like the opening ceremony or the World Cup. So TV, of course, still has an insane scale. But just keep in mind those two dynamics that are happening. There are still big events that draw a lot of audience, but fragmentation keeps going on. I wanted to transition kind of with this quote, which I'll give you a few seconds to read. So kind of that was YouTube CEO, and I think he was kind of stating that the trend that was happening there. So as more and more, as people are demanding more and more types of specific videos to them, you're starting to see the realm of online video becoming ideal for that. So whatever you're interested in, there would be a channel out there on whatever platform that you're watching, and it would cater specifically for your need. But the question is kind of how big is that? And just like the other day, YouTube released this number, which is basically having 1 billion viewers every month coming to watch videos on YouTube. And just to put this number, kind of to add some color to that number, so those folks watch 4 billion hours, right? So an average of watching 4 hours. That is pretty significant considering like one other way to look at it would be, as I said, an event like the Super Bowl, which is really the prime time in the US, which happens once a year. One platform for online video, which is YouTube, is kind of, there's 120 Super Bowls happening there every year. And that, as I said, speaks a little bit to the scale of how this is growing and growing at a very large scale. With that, I want to kind of transition into my third point, which is like what are the dynamics that are happening there and what are opportunities there. And I picked three of my favorite videos, and I'll ask you two questions for each video, and I hope. So, show of hands, who have seen this video? So, like, less than 50%. Okay. So, second question: would you say you've seen it because like somebody referred it to you, like you saw it on Facebook or something or Twitter, or you actively went out and like found it somehow? Is it the first one? The second one? Ah, interesting. Okay. So basically, I labeled each of those as a type of online videos that I believe is out there. So this is, in my mind, the niche, right? Because I don't know if you go back 5 years and you think, like, what kind of audience is there for somebody jumping from like a tiny space capsule? I don't think normally you would think there is a lot of audience for that. But then the 50 million playbacks this video has gotten in the first kind of couple of weeks after the event just speaks volume to if you think of this as a sporting event and the Super Bowl gets 100 million views, this was a very specific one-off event that got 50 million views. And it's so niche, right? So it's a Red Bull thing, it's a crazy thing, people really loved it, record breaking, but still it seems very niche. And I think that's one big category of successful online videos. The next one. Anybody? Maybe let me ask it this way. Anybody hasn't seen it? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, an insanely popular video. I've labeled this the good because there's been a lot written about how like Psy, the singer behind that video, was known in Korea but virtually wasn't known outside, right? But he is talented. He put together a very good video. For whatever reason, the music, whatever was good about it, online videos and a platform for online videos basically allows a good video to grow to 1 billion views in what was it, 5 months or 6 months or something like that. Latest I checked, this had 1.5 billion views, which is insane. I mean, if you think of 2 billion people are online, this is basically says most people, if every single view is a unique person, have seen it, which is again very interesting. Just to add a bit of details on that, we've seen a lot other videos that follow the same trend, like somebody who's very especially with music, somebody who's very talented, he's not signed up, he puts together a very cool music video for really nothing, like he shoots it with his friends, and then suddenly you get a lot of traction, you get signed up, and then they're basically are rewarded for their talent. So that, of course, is a very important type of those online videos. Finally, the third one. Anybody has seen this or any of its incarnations? Oh wow, that's much less than I expected. So this is the original Harlem Shake video, which like a blogger and a couple of his friends in those awesome suits just put it together and uploaded it, I think, sometime in Feb. The song, the Harlem Shake song, was out in 2012, but nobody basically knew about it. And this number, the 0.5 billion views, blew my mind because although not a single video of those, because the way it works, just for folks who haven't seen it, this is a 30-second video, people dancing, doing like crazy dances, and then there is a single music track that's in the background. If you haven't seen it, check it. It's called Harlem Shake. But the idea was, as soon as it went out, people started doing their own. And if you look at the first page of like search results, when you search for Harlem Shake, the combined number is 0.5 billion views. Like people in the span of a month have created so many of those because it's such a creative, simple, catchy concept that is easy to reproduce. That again, I mean, when you aggregate it, it becomes 0.5 billion views, which is very, very significant. So yeah, as I promised you, I kind of wanted to share with you 3 things, and I'll take your questions afterwards. The first thing, which was the trend, right? I think fragmentation is such an important, it's a defining concept for online videos. If you look at popular YouTube channels, there's a channel for everything, and that's amazing. Because if you think of as that approaches infinity, I guess would be the metaphor there, but it would be you will have your own channel, right? It would be so fragmented that each individual person would have their own channel that caters 100% to what they need. We're not there yet, but that's just a mind-dazzling trend. The second thing is scale. I just looking at the numbers, again, those are only YouTube numbers. If you expand it to everything else, online video, I'm sure the numbers are much more. But just remember this idea of like one of the biggest once per year events that happen on TV, and just think like 100x that is happening online, which is amazing. It's a very exciting, growing field, both here in the Middle East, globally, in developing countries. The scale is just, the numbers are crazy. The final thing, which I try to kind of check on how you guys discover those videos. I think discovery has been established as one of the things that are not fully cracked yet. Like if you think of how people get to know about the Harlem Shake or the latest craze, it's still not very clear and not very obvious. And this, I think, whoever cracks it correctly is going to be in a very good place in that field. So yeah, thank you so much. I don't know if I have time to take questions, but yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
My question is basically, sometimes when you're trying to watch a YouTube video on a mobile device, and all of a sudden you're bombarded with this warning: the user who uploaded this video did not want it to be able to be watched on a mobile device. My question is, why give the user who uploads a video that kind of power to discern who gets to watch it and who doesn't?
Sure. I think this is a much broader question, which is, as you know, folks who upload their own content, like their own original content, are able to make money off of it on YouTube. So content owners are able to say, do I want to share this video on monetizable platforms or not? And some platforms you cannot monetize, and that's mostly the distinction. So it's not like choosing a certain segment of user and saying I don't want my content there. It's much more of a choice of whoever owns the content of, do I want to have it for free or do I want to have it ad supported? And if I choose ad supported, if for any reason, like be it software or hardware, we cannot run ads to honor what the content owner needs to do, we don't run the video. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had viral YouTube videos or online videos from all parts of the world. I mean, from Southeast Asia, from Australia, from Europe, from the US, but we haven't seen any come up from the Arab world. Do you think it's because of a lack of interest from the Arab world, or the lack of interest of the world to the Arab world?
It's a good question. So I honestly don't know, but let me share with you like two numbers that I think are important. If you look, and that's a general thing, doesn't have to do with video specifically, but the way we consume content in the Arab world is disproportionate to the way we produce it online. So specifically to YouTube, I think I was looking at the numbers, and when you look at how much YouTube we watch, it's say like 5% of the world. But then how much content we upload, it becomes like less than 1%. So my guess is, I don't know if it has to do with interest from a certain part of the world or creativity here, but just a general trend of we need to be producing more content, be it videos or otherwise, and putting it out there. Yeah.
Good morning, this is Philip. My question, with viewership, we always see advertising. Do you believe this fact will have a future on YouTube, especially when we see this huge number of 1 billion viewers? How does the ad world will be evolving and evolving? Sorry, and do you think that there will be a competition between YouTube videos and the real TV channels, and when it comes to ads? Thank you.
Yeah. I think, and I'm biased here, so let me premise it with that. I think YouTube actually has done something good when it comes to advertising. If you've seen the True View ads, which is basically an ad that pops up, and if you want to skip it, you skip it. I think this is something very interesting in terms of advertising because it honors what Google has always been trying to do, which is reward good ads in general. So even when you think of text-based ads, that was how the bidding mechanism worked. So the idea of if you do a good, catchy ad, one of those things that you want to watch, consumers will not skip it and will watch it. If you do an ad that is so-so, people will skip it. And the fact that advertisers only pay if consumers watch, and whoever is providing the video is only paid when that kind of ad completes, I think does something to kind of innovates a little bit when it comes to advertising. And I think True View format has been well received for that. And also it provides a lot of info and insights into what do consumers consider as good and bad ads. To your second part, I don't think this is generally like replacing a channel or another, but if you're a marketeer and you're seeing all of those like growing numbers, I think it becomes much high up on your radar screen to be there and own that channel versus any other media that is not growing as much or declining. Great. Yeah. Last one.
Hi. You guys recently launched the partnership with users that can generate content. Why was it specifically for Egypt and GCC and not for the Levant areas?
Yeah, so actually this is a program that exists in general. The idea is though you need to like there's some like legal and kind of some groundwork that needs to be done for YouTube to launch that program in any country. And I think YouTube is committed to having that program widely available. It just kind of rollout phases, think of it this way. But the goal here is anybody who creates a piece of original content and wants to kind of get rewarded for this should definitely be able to do it with the least friction on YouTube. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks.